When I saw this, my jaw was on the floor. It's Jover. Joe over. A lot of punctuation going on in this track list, but this song is giving Tolerate It. And what did she do when she got fresh out the slammer? She had a little fling with Maddie Healy. I'm gonna say this is the song that's gonna be the most shocking. Like, goodbye, London boy. Hello guys, welcome back to the channel. It's Nena. If you are new to my channel, welcome. I'm so happy to have you, and if you're not new, welcome back. We have a lot to get into today. I have spent all day analyzing this track list, and I just can't believe how quickly she just put it out. I think the track list was leaked online, which is why she posted it herself, because that is the same thing that happened when the Speak Now Taylor's Version album track list got leaked. She just ended up posting it on her Instagram, so that makes me kind of sad that it was not on Taylor's accord, but I was not prepared for this. Just as the mug says, I've been a hot mess for the past 24 to 48 hours because of everything that has happened. I woke up a little under the weather this morning, so I have some tea here instead of my usual iced coffee. Before we get into the video, I want to thank today's sponsor, which is Ritual, which I will be talking about later on in the video. You know, maybe tea is fitting for this video because there is so much tea that I have uncovered about this set list. I think upon first glance, you obviously know some of these songs are gonna be hard hitters, but when you really look into it, we can pull so much of the storyline of this album and the direction that Taylor is heading with it just from the titles of these tracks. And I would love to hear y'all's thoughts in the comments down below, and if I missed anything, please let me know. Okay, so first up, our first track of the Tortured Poets department is Fortnight featuring Post Malone. That is something I did not see coming at all. I thought that maybe that she would have collabs on this album, but Post Malone was not on my bingo card. So if you didn't know, Fortnight is the British term for 2 weeks. That's gonna be a theme here. British terms and spellings. So this could also be a way to describe going on holiday or vacation, as they say. So this has me thinking this song is going to talk about a trip that she was on, maybe with Joe, or something that happened within this 2-week period that they were away together, maybe. As far as why she chose Post Malone, I wanted to kind of look in and see when they became friends, why he might have ended up on this record. They are signed to the same label and have been friendly with each other for quite some time now. In October of last year, Post Malone was being interviewed. He was asked about a compliment that Taylor gave him once that happened back in 2018 at the Billboard Music Awards, and she was passing him in the hallway.
Better now is so insane. I'm so jealous of
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I recently got to hang out with her, and she is genuinely one of the most kind and considerate and hell of a songwriter. Amazing.
So obviously they've come a long way since then. So I think that interview taking place in October is interesting because that is something that happened years ago. That was right after Reputation. And I wonder if this song had already been in the works when he was asked about this situation back in October. I feel like there's not much else I could pull out from this, just this title, but it's pretty interesting that this is the first song on the album. It's gonna be our lead-off track, so it's definitely one to keep in mind, and I feel like this is gonna set the tone for the rest of the album. Okay, so before we get into track 3, I'm gonna talk about our sponsor for today, which is Ritual. Ritual is a technology brand in the health industry. So a little bit about the story behind Ritual. The founder, Kat, was pregnant with her first child, and she just like ransacked her whole house looking to get rid of products with ingredients that she just couldn't get behind, and she just couldn't find a brand that she could trust, so she decided to make her own, and that is where Ritual comes in. With Ritual, you will know where all of the labeled ingredients come from and why they're there. They believe everybody should know what is in their multivitamin. So the product that I've been using this year is the Essential for Women 18+. You take 2 of them every day. This is a clinical bagged multivitamin formulated with key high-quality nutrients to help fill common dietary gaps. It is vegan-friendly, non-GMO project verified, gluten-free, major allergen-free. It is designed to support foundational health, bone bone health, brain health, blood building, and antioxidant support. It's designed to dissolve later in the small intestine where the most nutrients is absorbed. You don't have to take it with food, but you can, which works great for me because it doesn't upset my stomach. It's also super convenient because it's really hard to get all the nutrients you need from just food alone. Plus, it's delivered straight to your door every month, so you don't have to worry about running low. Now, if you're ready to start a daily ritual that you feel really good about, Ritual is offering you all 20% off of your first month if you want to get started. So you can either scan this QR code right here and use code nenashelby20, or you can click the link down below. Again, thank you so much to Ritual for sponsoring this video, and now let's get back to this track list. Track 2 is our title track, which is the Tortured Poets Department. I have such a hard time remembering this title. I always get tripped up on the words, but I feel like if I say it more and more, it will get into my brain, hopefully become muscle memory. I wasn't sure if the title of the album was going to be an actual track on the album because, you know, in Midnights, she didn't have a title track, but the word Midnights was kind of weaved throughout the album. So I thought for some reason this title was going to just be the same kind of thing, just kind of like a common thread. But we do have a title track, the Tortured Poets Department, and I'm curious to see how this is going to flow in the lyrics because it is quite a long-winded phrase, but Taylor is truly the queen of making really long phrases flow perfectly and just roll off the tongue. I think a good example of this is why we can't have nice things. Like, that is such a long title, but in the song it's like totally makes sense and you don't feel like it is awkward or doesn't flow well. I'm really looking forward to this one. I think this is the one I'm looking forward to the most. Just as a former English creative writing major, I feel like this one is gonna hit. And then again, going back to the fact that the title of this album, the title of this song, is a play on the group chat that Joe had with his cast members called the Tortured Man Club, and so I'm wondering if that is going to play a role in the lyrics of this song as well. Okay, so track number 3, I think now we're kind of getting into these hard-hitting track titles that are so on the nose. We have My Boy Only Breaks His Favorite Toys, and immediately I think everyone's brain went to the lyric in Cruel Summer, bad bad boy, shiny toy with a price, you know that I bought it. And the fact that favorite is spelled the British way with a U, I feel like that is a theme throughout this whole album, using these little references to British culture or the way that British people spell things. It's all over this set list. My boy only breaks his favorite toys. So it's almost like a backhanded way of saying I was his favorite and that's why he treated me so bad. The other thing I wanted to point out was that the movie that Joe Alwyn was in was called The Favorite. Now, I don't know if that has a connection, but it's like an uncanny coincidence. And toy is obviously referring to a person, and when she's talking about the lyric in Cruel Summer, bad bad boy, shiny toy, like he was her shiny toy. Like he was this, you know, attractive blonde, blue-eyed guy. He was so gorgeous. Like, you know that I bought it. I bought that act. So now it's kind of flipped on its head a little bit, and now she's his favorite toy that he breaks. It's like when you're a kid and you have a favorite teddy bear and you play with it so much that you damage it, or when you have like your favorite blankie and it's like threadbare by the time you're out of childhood. I feel like that could be kind of a similar metaphor. Whew, this is only track 3. Okay, now we have track 4, which is called Down Bad, and this one kind of makes me chuckle because I feel like in a lot of these tracks she's using like internet slang, like Gen Z ways of describing things, and I feel like that is kind of making me feel like it's a little bit immature or like dramatic, just like the absurdity sometimes with the language that Gen Z uses in social media, just being so overly dramatic, so like exaggerating about stuff. And so when you're down bad, I looked this up on the Urban Dictionary, and the definition says when you are so desperate for something that you lose all rational thought. I feel like that's what it is, honestly. At first I thought down bad meant maybe like really sad and depressed, But then there's another definition that said, being down bad is the act of sacrificing your morals or reputation to try to interact with someone romantically. She was so desperate to make this work, to come out on top, to survive the Great War, that she was willing to kind of compromise how she was living her life. You know, when she wants to be out and about and not care about the paparazzi or the media, she instead had to live in a hole for 6 years. She had to live out of the public eye to appease the lifestyle he wanted. You know, she said herself it gets really difficult for her to feel like a person when she is so famous that anything she does, like, she will never have a normal existence. But that's not the life he wanted, even though he knew what he was getting into. But this has me thinking a lot about You're Losing Me. She tried everything. She was fighting for this relationship to work, and towards the end, he kind of gave up. He just let it die. From recent discoveries, we know that You're Losing Me was written in 2021, right in the middle of their relationship. And as far as we know, they were together until the beginning of 2023. So it seemed like the last 2 years were the hardest. And I feel like that's when it started to become one-sided, a one-sided fight to survive. I feel like this one is gonna give me like Reputation vibes. Down bad sounds like the like pining, just a little bit of a dramatic and aggressive way to describe that feeling. Next we have So Long London. When I saw this, my jaw was on the floor. So Long London. Like, goodbye London boy. It is over. It is Jover. I don't know if you guys have been seeing that term. I think Twitter was probably the first place I saw it, but people, ever since You're Losing Me came out, oh my god, it's Jover. Joe over. And the fact that this is an infamous track 5, she so intentionally did this, obviously, because I mean, she's always so intentional about everything she does, especially the order of the track list. This is gonna hit. I think this is gonna be one of those songs that's just sad. There's a lot of different ways that she portrays emotion in songs. There could be angry sad, desperately pining sad, combinations of emotions, and I feel like this is just gonna be a sad song about saying goodbye to a place that she called home for so many years and where she felt so secure and that now she can't go back to because of this end of a relationship. I think it's gonna be a metaphor like very similar to Cornelia Street, where it's like this city has him written all over it, their whole life together. And I feel like it's gonna be like London Boy, but like sad breakup version of London Boy, where she's like gonna say, I walked by the Camden Market and saw the flowers that you used to buy me, blah 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 blah. There's gonna be some parallels in this song from London Boy, and she always says that track 5s are her most vulnerable, honest, raw song. So this is gonna kill me, that's for sure. Goodbye, London Boy. Track 6. But Daddy, I Love Him. At first, this title made me laugh again because I feel like within the title you can tell what the song is gonna be about. It's that classic archetype of, you know, it's kind of like Romeo and Juliet. Like, the parents don't like him. The parents don't want you to be with him. But Daddy, I love him. You think love is enough of a reason to be with somebody. I want to hear Scott Swift's side of the story, because if Scott Swift started to not like him, I want to know why, and the truth. And I saw someone say on TikTok, I think, that this album is gonna be like when your friend just went through a breakup and maybe while she was in the relationship she wasn't completely honest about the things going wrong, and then when they break up, more and more of the truth of how he treated her starts to come out. And I think this is Taylor giving us all the details about what actually happened in the relationship. But a lot of people pointed out that this is a quote from The Little Mermaid. You know, when Ariel is telling her dad that she wants to be with this human, Prince Eric. The movie came out in 1989, which is something to note. And also, Ariel had to give up her voice to be with him. Very significant. Also, I'm not like a Harry Styles stan. I'm like a Harry Styles adjacent fan, but a lot of the Harry Styles fans brought up that Harry Styles Bells was seen wearing a shirt that said this exact phrase on it. I don't think that has anything to do with it, but I think it's a funny coincidence. I think this is gonna be a tongue-in-cheek song, kind of like, in hindsight, you know that you were wrong and that like this was not what you should have been doing. Okay, we have so many tracks left to go. Track 7, Fresh Out the Slammer. Again, like all of these tracks have me so confused. This one was a wild card for me, and then I started to think about it. Okay, slammer means like getting out of jail, getting out of prison. Getting out of prison means you're free, you have freedom, and so I feel like this might have been like right when she got out of the relationship. She was fresh out the slammer. And what did she do when she got fresh out the slammer? She had a little fling with Maddie Healy. I don't think Maddie Healy will be in this album, but it would be interesting to see what the heck was going on in that situation. That was a fever dream. She had a little rebound action. So the other thing that my friend pointed out was that this track is followed by Florida, which I will get to the full analysis of that, but Tampa, Florida was the show that she had right after the news broke about the breakup. And so the fact that that is right after this song, Fresh Out of the Slammer. This is kind of like what happened afterward. What happened after she got out of this relationship for good. This makes me think this album is truly following like a storyline and that the order of every track is very intentional. The whole theme of this era and this album is like writing, poetry, books. So I feel like each song is a chapter in the book. With each one progresses the story a little bit. So she's talking about being free from something. This has me thinking about the lyric, "The light of freedom on my face." I think Maddie Healy was driving the Getaway Car a little bit because that lyric is from Getaway Car, and when she broke up with Calvin Harris, 2 weeks later she was off rebounding with Tom Hiddleston. So I feel like this could give the same kind of vibes as Getaway Car. Next, track 8 is Florida, with 3 exclamation points, which I think is interesting, featuring Florence and the Machine. I know that Taylor has been a fan of Florence and the Machine for a while, so it's not like it surprises me. I think she just is a fan of an artist, and then she asks them if they would be on a song with her, and they all say yes. She has worked with a crazy big range of artists from all different genres, so I'm very curious to see how this is gonna sound. But again, like I just said, the news of the breakup came out when Taylor was on a break. She had 1 week, 1.5, 2 weeks between shows because of Easter break. So she played in Arlington, Texas, and then she had 2 weeks off where we had Easter, and that is the weekend that the news came out. So she was on break. I think that was super intentional that she was on a break when the news came out, and then the next week she was playing a show in Tampa, Florida. So I think this might have to do with the aftermath of the whole world finding out about this breakup, because we have no idea when they actually broke up. This is just when we found out, and I feel like the breakup always happens at least, you know, quite a bit before the public finds out about stuff, because I think they have some kind of say in when the news is broken and how they want it to be broken because of just like PR and publicists getting involved in the narrative that they want out there. So I'm not sure about the 3 exclamation points, but this is Taylor's 3rd song to have this punctuation mark in the title. We have Me, which is like bubblegum, glitter pen, ultra pop lover. Then we had Slut, which I thought that song was going to be way more upbeat, and it ended up being like this slower, synthy, you know, ethereal sounding song. So I have no idea how this song is gonna sound. I am interested to see how she's gonna utilize the title in the lyrics. Track 9. I am such a track 9 girly, and this is called Guilty as Sin, question mark? A lot of punctuation going on in this track list, but I googled guilty as sin. I've been googling everything just in case there's something I am missing. As a definition, it just means so completely guilty. The phrase guilty as sin, it's like unquestionably guilty, which is funny that there's a question mark at the end because like this is without a doubt you are guilty. So the fact that there's a question mark is interesting. So when I googled this, the first thing that came up was a horror thriller movie from 1993, Guilty as Sin, and the synopsis of the movie is interesting. It said, an ambitious lawyer begins to have doubts about her latest client. So a female lawyer has a client who is a smooth-talking womanizer that is accused of murdering his wife. Fearing that he's guilty and that she may be his next target, the lawyer uses a detective to gather evidence against him, triggering a deadly battle of wits. This had me shocked because, first of all, the word evidence that was in the prologue that Taylor posted about this album, it's like she is gathering evidence to take down this man. She's an ambitious lawyer. Before he murders her, she is going to gather evidence against him. This, if I'm right about this song is going to be a good one. This is going to be top tier. Track 9, always so good. Now, I don't have too much to say about track 10, besides just like talking about this phrase, who's afraid of little old me? The meaning of the term little old me is a way of referring to yourself in a modest or like self-deprecating way, often seen as fake, which I think is the most likely way that Taylor is using this. Who's afraid of little old me? It's like, why would you be afraid of me? But actually, she's literally the most powerful woman in the world. The power of Taylor Swift has never been more than right now. It's almost like a very condescending, like, ironic, sarcastic way of saying this. Like, who would be afraid of me? I'm just a girl. I'm just a girl that writes songs. But she will literally, like, write songs about you, be the most successful woman ever. It kind of like pointing fun at the way that people underestimate her. So I think this is her way of saying, like, don't underestimate me. Like, you're afraid of little old me? You should be. Let me know if you guys have any more thoughts on that one. Track 11, again, these titles are so witty. I can fix him, in parentheses. No, really, I can. Like, she's trying to convince you this is a fixable man. Just give me some time. Like, I'll fix it. And I think that's why they were in the relationship for so long and that they didn't break up sooner, is that she really, truly thought in her soul that she could fix the situation. She could fix the relationship by fixing him. It's giving fighting in only your army. It's giving if we survive the Great War, meet me in the afterglow. No matter what happens, everything is going to work out just fine. Okay, I'm just popping in here because I found something else about this song. I saw this on TikTok, so I'm not taking credit for this theory, but someone had said this song could be about Maddie Healy because it has that parentheses, and that is such a 1975 thing. I can't believe I didn't put that together because so many of their songs have that parentheses in the title. For example, It's Not Living If It's Not With You. There's countless others. I'll put some other examples. So like, just because the structure of this song title is like making a reference to a lot of the 1975 titles, it definitely could be about him because she said she was working on this album throughout the entire US tour. Just this title itself makes way more sense for Maddie Healy than Joe because Maddie Healy is so messy. He is like so all over the place. A very problematic, polarizing person. Maybe she thought that she could fix this image of him, but he is not somebody who can just be fixed. So anyways, I just wanted to pop in and insert that theory that I recently found. I'm so excited for the lyric breakdowns that I'm gonna do when this album comes out because I just know this is gonna be some of Taylor's best songwriting ever, and as an English major creative writing person, poetry is like my favorite thing ever. I'm so excited to dig in here and annotate and analyze and just truly get in between the lines. But this song is giving Tolerate It. Moving on, track 12, LOML, also known as a slang acronym for love of my life, referring to someone you have a very strong passion for, your soulmate, your person. The first thing I thought of was the lyric from I Don't Want to Live Forever, wondering if I just dodged a bullet or just lost the love of my life.
Sitting eyes wide open and I got one thing stuck in my mind. Won't hit the dash, a bullet, or just lost the love of my life. Oh.
And when she sang that song as a surprise song on the Eras tour, she was angry as hell. She sang that lyric with fire coming out of her. Again, Taylor keeping with this theme of internet slang / Gen Z language. So I feel like when things like this are acronymed, it feels a little less serious. Like, you could say love of my life and you're like, aw. But when you say LOML, it's like, that feels way less serious and a little emotionally immature. So I think that's what Taylor's getting at with this, maybe. It's dramatic, it's over exaggerating, and oftentimes I feel like Gen Z uses this in that overdramatic way. Like, oh my god, he's the love of my life, even though it's just some guy that took your order at Starbucks. It's definitely giving Tumblr era. Track lucky number 13, I Can Do It With a Broken Heart. This is another one I'm very excited for because I feel like I just love the title. I don't know. I think this being towards the end of an album is kind of dealing with the aftermath of the breakup and having to continue on and do everything you have to do, even if you have to do it with a broken heart. The first thing I wrote was, she can perform the 3-hour set list of the Eras tour with a broken heart. She has to sing all of these songs she wrote about him every night for a whole summer, and she has to do it with a broken heart. Some people have posted side-by-sides of Taylor singing Lover at the beginning of the tour. And Taylor singing it towards the end of the tour, and you can totally see the emotional difference between the way that she is singing Lover. It's like she's dissociating in the beginning of the tour when she's singing Lover. She just can't feel the emotions. And then, you know, towards the end of the tour when she's dating Travis, or she's just like over the breakup already, you can tell that she's just so much more secure emotionally when she's singing those songs. I was also thinking this title might mean I can still leave even if I have a broken heart. I think her heart was already broken in the relationship. It's like, I can break up with him and I can have a broken heart, but I need to do it. I need to break my own heart. I want to know what it is. I can do it with a broken heart. What is her it? What in the lyrics is going to tell us what is it that she is overcoming with a broken heart? This song sounds very like self-reassuring, like I can get through this. So I'm hoping it's kind of like a self-affirming inspirational vibe, but I think this is really showing the progression of emotion in the album. Definitely breaking up, breaking down, breaking through, a little callback of Labyrinth, if you will. Okay, now we get to the last couple songs here. The Smallest Man Who Ever Lived. This title is very storybook in phrasing. The smallest man who ever lived, and it's like you're reading this book. My friend Maddie came up with this theory that it could be a reference to the Napoleon complex, also known as short man syndrome. Now, Joe wasn't short by any means, but emotionally he seems like he is. I quite literally have really never heard Joe Alwyn talk, like at all, until years into the relationship, until I saw like an interview or something. I feel like he is just not out there. He's a bit of a loner, likes to hide away. You know, that's why Taylor went off to the lakes with him to live a quiet life, and I just think that might be his social shortcoming. I cannot imagine him walking the carpet with her, going to all these parties. It also goes along with the saying, be the bigger man, which means take the high road, be mature, don't sink to someone else's level. And I think this is her saying like he was small and he was not the bigger man. I feel like that is alluding to the fact that he was emotionally immature, and I think it was very small of him to dull her sparkle. He did not let her be jeweled. He was not okay with being Mr. Taylor Swift. He could not swallow his pride, and I think the ego is what made him a small man. I know that this is just like me shitting on Joe for all of these songs, but I feel like Taylor is about to do much worse in these lyrics. Here's the thing. I don't hate Joe. I don't think Taylor truly hates Joe. I think he was so important to her growth, and he gave her some really good years in relationship. I've always said this. I'm not like a Joe hater, but I do kind of despise the way that she had to shrink herself for him. now that that little disclaimer is out of the way, track 15 is The Alchemy. Okay, this just hit me right now. Is Afterglow track 15 on Lover? I need to know this right now. I think I've just made a discovery, because when I was looking up alchemy, the definition of alchemy is the medieval forerunner of chemistry. So the medieval, like there's like a foreshadowing of chemistry or signs that there is chemistry based on supposed transformation of matter. This is kind of like a technical definition, and then the second definition under this said a seemingly magical process of transformation, creation, and combination. And the first thing I thought when I saw the first definition was the lyric, chemistry till it blows up, till there's no us, from Afterglow. There's no doubt that they had immediate chemistry. You can tell that in all of her songs, especially from Reputation and Lover. It's like they had this magnetic pull towards each other, immediate connection. They were so passionate and so tied to each other that it was almost tumultuous to deal with. So the second part of this technical definition says it was concerned particularly with attempts to convert base metals into gold, or to find a universal elixir, trying to find a cure, trying to find what would work so that this chemistry didn't burn them both, and that there was more to it than just that connection. Whew. A lot to think about there. Okay, 2 more tracks here. The last one on the main track list is Clara B, and immediately people were able to Google and figure out who she was. She was a silent actress in the 1940s, and one of the first to move into talkies, which means, you know, obviously movies that had dialogue and sound. She was the it girl of the old times. I think she might have been the first it girl. That was her nickname. She lived in Brooklyn, New York, and then she moved to California to be an actress. So I feel like Taylor probably resonates a lot with this character. And people have pointed out that there are scenes and parallels in the Midnight's music videos that resemble this person very closely. The last scene in Bejeweled, there is a photo that looks just like Clara B, like the outfit and everything that Taylor was wearing. And then there was one from the Lavender Haze music video. So I think Taylor kind of pulls these characters from history and really relates to them. Again, at the Grammys this past weekend, she had a black fan, and Kelly Teller posted a picture of Marilyn Monroe. That was kind of what Taylor was emulating. This like it girl that had been like scrutinized, just kind of like put in this box of who she was and what her life was like. Upon more research, Clara B was also somebody who was scrutinized for her romantic relationships. You could say she had a reputation. This song reminds me a lot of a song that Kelsea Ballerini came out with called Marilyn, and I'm wondering if it's the same kind of vibe. If you have not heard Kelsey's song Marilyn, I highly recommend you listen to it, because I feel like it might give the same exact vibes as this song is going to give. In her song, she talks about like, did you always want to be Marilyn, or did you want to be Norma Jean, because that was Marilyn Monroe's real name. So I'm very, very curious to hear this song. Okay, our last song, which is technically the bonus song, called The Manuscript, and I talked about this in my last video, and I looked up the definition of manuscript and all of that. We know that it's a book, document, poem, or piece of music that was written by hand rather than typed, an author's text that has not yet been published. So in my brain, I'm thinking this is unedited, raw, thoughts straight onto the page, stream of consciousness, her uncensored side of the story is what I'm thinking. The manuscript, like what a powerful way to end this album, because this whole album is the manuscript, you know? This is her diary that we're getting to read, and that we've always gotten to read. She's always said her songs are like a diary. But yeah, this ending with this song is such a power move. I think this is gonna be the nail in the coffin. I'm gonna say this is the song that's gonna be the most shocking. I know that I have no like basis for that claim, but I'm just guessing, and this is just my prediction without any basis, but I feel like this is the end of the book, and there's always a twist at the end. But yeah, that is all 17 tracks. I can't believe how quickly we were able to see the track list because I feel like Taylor usually waits a bit, but like I said, I think with the track list leaking, she just wanted to make sure it was released on her terms, and we have a full 2 months, 2.5 months until we get to hear these songs, and I wonder if she will release any of these songs as the lead single or if she's just gonna wait and give us all of the songs all at once, which I feel like she probably will do because I just feel like she wants to give us the whole story all at once instead of just like one at a time. But anyways, like I said before, comment down below your opinions, predictions, thoughts about the title tracks. What track are you claiming? I have said that I am claiming the title track, the Tortured Poets Department, because I don't know, I feel like that one's just going to resonate most with me. And then the last one, the Manuscript, very, very excited about. Thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know what other videos you guys want to see from me, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.